Good morning everybody and welcome to our second lesson on writing an explanation text. So before we start our starter, please make sure that you have gone back and looked at the RED work that your teacher has posted for yesterday's writing. So your teacher will have posted some whole class feedback. Make sure you go and check your work for your corrections. When you have done that, you can come back to this video. Now, today's starter is to extend these main clauses using the subordinate conjunctions while and when. And you can choose which one you want to use. So, I would use one of each. I will have a go at the first one for you. So our main clause is push the shiny button. And my sentence, I'm going to use when. So I'm going to say when the engine is whirring, comma, push the shiny button. Okay, I would like you to pause the video and to go and write some subordinate conjunctions for these two main clauses, one with the conjunction while and one with the conjunction when. Off you go, please. Okay, well done. Hopefully you have some fantastic main clauses. I will give an example for these two as well, just so that you have 3 examples to help you. So I have already used when, so now I am going to use while, remembering that they both mean at the same time as. So, while the wheel is spinning, comma, pull the large lever. And finally, I will go back to use when again. When you push the shiny button, comma, the kettle will heat up the water. Okay, so there we have 3 sentences beginning with these subordinate conjunctions. The subordinate clauses have come first, and as ever, we have put a comma after them. So, moving on. We are now writing paragraph 2. Yesterday, we wrote paragraph 1. We marked off our success criteria, and we used our plan, very important. Now I am going to try and copy these ticks over if I can, because we know that we've already done some of these things. Yes, there we go. Okay, so we've already written our introduction. We have already used 3 subordinate conjunctions. Which one did we use? Because we need to make sure we use the other one. We used when, so that, and as. So we've used when, so that, and as. So I need to make sure I use while in this paragraph. We have used rhetorical questions. Why haven't we ticked it off? Goodness me. We used, is your friend always irritated? Are you feeling fed up? How does the machine work? We've used 3. Goodness me, we did a fantastic job last lesson. 1, 2, 3. Okay. Now, in this section of the plan, we are writing about the tennis ball and the tennis racket, the adorable puppy, and the parts of the machine. We are going to talk about the hot pink button and the gauge. Before we start, very important, let's reread what we wrote last lesson. We always should do that before you start. So, is your friend always irritated? Are you feeling fed up? If so, use the friend pleaser machine, and soon your friend will be full of the joys of spring, which meant really happy. How does the machine work? To start the machine running, comma, pull the large metal lever to the right of the machine. When you pull the lever, comma, the wooden cogs will begin to turn and the engine will growl awake. As the engine comes on, comma, the sweet dispenser will start shooting out sweets, a surefire way to keep your friend happy. The Friend Pleaser also has an inbuilt note writer so that your friend receives a lovely note each day. Paragraph 2. We mentioned the engine in the last paragraph. So writing about it in the first sentence here is a really good opportunity to use the subordinate conjunction when. So when the engine is running at full speed. I haven't used the subordinate conjunction while, so actually I might change that and I might say while the engine is running at full speed, comma, press the hot pink button. Now, why press the hot pink button? What happens when you press the hot pink button? As you press the hot pink button, what shall we have? The tennis ball and racket or the adorable puppy? I think the tennis ball and racket. As you press the hot pink button, comma, a tennis ball and 2 rackets will appear. Full stop. This will keep you and your friend entertained for hours. Now, what do we need to talk about? The adorable puppy. So, a good way to move on to talk about something new is to say, furthermore, comma, when the dial on the gauge. So let's go back to the picture now. This is the gauge here, and this is the dial. We call this the dial. Okay, so it's a bit like a hand on a clock. When the dial on the gauge reaches 100, comma, an adorable puppy will pop out of the machine. Who wouldn't, and we learnt about apostrophes for contraction, so would not, and the apostrophe is a teardrop, remembering the little lost O. Who wouldn't be happy to have a delightful puppy to play with? Okay, have I mentioned all of these things? Yes. Let's reread to check it makes sense. While the engine is running at full speed, comma, press the hot pink button. As you press the hot pink button, comma, a tennis ball and 2 rackets will appear. This will keep you and your friend entertained for hours. Furthermore, what have I missed? This will keep you and your friend entertained for hours, exclamation mark. Furthermore, comma, when the dial on the gauge reaches 100, comma, an adorable puppy will pop out of the machine. Who wouldn't be happy to have a delightful puppy to play with? Right, let's get to underlining our success criteria. So, I have not written an introduction or a conclusion. I have used some subordinate clauses though. Of course I have. You would expect nothing less. So let's underline those in yellow. I have used while. I have used as. While with my comma, because it comes first. As with my comma. When, I've put furthermore in front of it, but I've still used here, when the dial on the gauge reaches 100, comma. So I've used 3 there. So even if I don't use any for the rest of my explanation text, I know that I've used 6 and I've used one of each, and that's okay. I have used gauge and hot pink button. I've written in the second person. I don't need to keep ticking that because I'm still doing it. I've used another rhetorical question. Job done. Excellent job done. Look, Grumpy Miss Hill is happy. Okay, off you go today and write your paragraph 2. Please keep using the same sheet that you started writing on yesterday. You don't need a new worksheet for this. Okay, well done Year 4. We will look forward to looking at your work.